post that. Okay, I have play sound checked. Why is Zoom? Am I not hearing it? It's working. It's the play sound part that is not working. It's supposed to ding. Why isn't it dinging? Oh, ding. All right, it is 1:45. Good afternoon, everybody. I think everybody. Who do we got here? Let's see. I've got Brian online. I've got Regina online. I've got Wendy online. I've got Yasmin online. We've got Johan in person, and behind him that would be Alondra. Yes. Got it. Slowly but surely, I am learning your half faces. Okay, no Vanessa and no Leslie. All right. Then let's do, despite AirPlay passcode. Hey, rude, somebody's trying to. No. HDMI 1, thank you. Stay put. There we go. All right. Let's make sure they can see the same thing. There it is. Today, we're going to get all symbolic on you. Not like in a English class symbolic sort of sense, but in literally using symbols. We're going to take all of that good argument format we learned last week, and we're going to shorten it even more, okay? Because we're mathematicians, and we are as lazy as possible. Remember that. We're always trying to find ways to save ourselves work. That's why we invented computers. So, last week we had the modus ponens and the modus tollens as two acceptable deductive reasoning formats. And I'm going to highlight this again later, but the important thing there was the structure, right? It was, okay, let's arrange these statements in a structure that allows us to trust the validity of the conclusion. And when we can reduce those statements into symbols, it lets the structure show through a lot clearer, all right? You're going to see this is way cleaner and way easier to spot when you reduce it down to these symbols. So last time we had the letters, right? We got this far. We could take some statement like, if the evening sky is red, then tomorrow will be a beautiful day. And we would define the evening sky is red as P, and tomorrow will be a beautiful day as Q, because we recognized we don't want to write this sentence 5, 6, however many times throughout the course of our argument, right? Now I know in these examples it's rather short. We're only, the fact that we have to rewrite it to say that we're going to rewrite it in itself seems to waste time. But when we get to longer arguments, trust me, you'll appreciate this. And that was pretty good. If P, then Q. That's pretty short, right? I would be comfortable with that. However, we can do one better. We can replace all of the words entirely by writing it this way. P, arrow, Q. All right? And now this does a number of things. It brings to mind the alternate name for conditional statements that you saw in the reading this weekend, and that was an implication. because we could read this as if P then Q, but you could also look at it as P implies Q. And I really like the visual quality of this symbol with that arrow because it's like a map. It's telling you go here, start at P and go to Q. All right? Similarly, we could just say not R in order to negate a statement. No, I don't want that thing, not that. Like, but it's 3 whole letters. That's so much writing. Let's just put a little squiggle in front of it to say not that. Yeah, we did that, okay? Mathematicians were so lazy, we couldn't even write 3 letters. We said squiggle R. This is the tilde key on your keyboard right there next to the number 1. Okay, so that's how you type that out. Or you just put a little wiggle R, and you would read that as not R. So from now on, when you see the squiggle in front of a statement, it would be not that statement. We are still going to use that on occasion in front of numbers to mean approximately this, but on statements, it means not. And then finally, we have my favorite symbol, the absolute best one, replacing this horrendous word, therefore, because for whatever reason, my brain constantly blocks out the letter E on the end, and I spell this wrong all the time. I think that I did that in class last week. Was that this class or the previous class? One of them, I did. I totally spelled it wrong, and you called me out on it. Thank you. This is why. I never have to use that word again. I'm going to use this symbol, which means the exact same thing. It's just 3 little dots in a triangle, and that means therefore. And this symbol does a wonderful task for us because it calls your attention to the end of the argument. Right? Your final statement is going to be your ultimate conclusion from this logical argument. And you're going to call it out with the 3 little dots. Be like, boop, alert, we are nearing the end. This is the last line. And it reminds me of back in the day, there used to be these things called magazines. You may have seen them at the grocery checkout aisle there, right? Big splash page, you need to flip through it. And in between all of the advertisements, there'd occasionally be articles. And you would read the article, and sometimes the article would spill over to the next page, and you had to flip the page, or it would start out at the beginning of the magazine and would say, oh, this article continued on page 27, and you got to find it. And they would mark the end of the article so you know you're done and you don't have to flip anymore with a symbol at the end. They would stick, usually it's just a square, just a solid square or a box or something, and it would always be at the end of the article. So we have a period that marks the end of a sentence. They used this extra symbol to mark the end of the article, and you knew you were finished. We have that right here in the symbol for therefore. When you see this, you know this is the last line, I am done. Right? The final conclusion should make sense now. Which means you put all this together, and your statements become individual letters. And your connecting words, if and then, become arrows. Your negation knots become just a little tilde in front. And you can do these crazy combinations of, well, it's not this. It is not true that if I fail the test, then I will not graduate. And you can see how these things layer on top of each other. And then you can count them, right? You can determine, okay, 3, not. Well, the 2 cancel out, and I'm still left with not. Right? You could count them and work them almost like negative signs. In fact, they work almost exactly like negative signs. And then you have the therefore, and you can notice I've got a whole argument right here, 3 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 characters on the keyboard. Assuming we had an arrow key button, right? But 8 symbols, that's it. I took this whole 3-sentence paragraph and turned it into 8 symbols. Now that is efficiency, right? You can't find that anywhere else. Only math can do that for us. Your English teacher would probably not be satisfied with such a thing. But in math, we can totally get away with it. It's great. So if you hate writing, this is the class for you. All right, any questions about those symbols? Oh, do you have to use the arrows? Well, for today's assignment, yes, you have to use the arrows because your specific tasks will be to use those symbols, right? You're going to practice with them. In the future, if you would prefer to write them out as if-then, I'm okay with that. That's totally acceptable. You'll at least need to be able to read this because you'll be presented with an argument using the arrow. So I at least need you to be able to read it and recognize that's what it means, even if you prefer to write your own versions out this way. Okay? Excellent question. Hey, the dinging is back. Who just got in? Somebody just arrived. Is that Vanessa or Leslie? Vanessa, all right, you made it. Okay. That's all the new stuff today. That's it. We're going to take all the old stuff and we're going to practice shortening it today. So you've got use the symbolic form from last time, and we're going to reduce it even further to the super short symbol version. Then you've got, here are the words. So you got the full sentence versions. Reduce those all down to super short symbols. Then we'll have the opposite. Here is the super short symbol version. Use the same key and work backwards and write them out in full sentence version. Okay? Careful with the extra knots on things. And then here, 16 through 24, this is what I was talking about with that structure really shining through. Because I can identify this in 16 as modus ponens just from looking at it and noticing, hey, I've got conditional, if T then R. I've got stated T. I've got therefore R. This is an entire modus ponens argument right here. T implies R. It's showing me my little map. If you're at T, then you go to R. It's like playing Monopoly, right? If you land on this space, go directly to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect your $200. And then it tells you, oh, you landed on that space. Therefore, where are you? In jail, right? And it's all right there. Regardless of whatever thing we're talking about, the context doesn't matter, just the structure, right? As long as these letters match up, I have the whole thing right here, as is. It's great. Okay, so you're going to practice identifying those based on the symbolic structure there. And then the final piece is same as last week. Identify modus tollens or modus ponens in the full English statement version. Once again, from these premises, can I draw a valid conclusion? If not, you would write no valid conclusion and you're done. If you can, state the whole conclusion in English. Tell me which pattern it uses, modus tollens or modus ponens. You can just put MT or MP, that's fine. And then translate the complete argument into symbolic form, which means you're going to write out the whole structure just as letters, just like this. Right? Be sure to specify which statements go with which letter. So if you are using like the Kami or some other markup tool and you're working directly on the document, you can go ahead and just do like I did before, just like underline this and say, I'm going to call that statement T. I'm going to call this one statement R, whatever you like. Okay? If not, if you are writing this out either by hand or typing it in a separate document, please make a full key just like this. All right? So you're going to be given this much. You need to write out the final conclusion and give me the whole key and symbol argument just like this. So this will be your best example in this box. Okay? That's all I got for you today. Yep. Any questions? Questions online? Don't see any. Okay. Then I leave the rest to you. I'll go ahead and clear this up. There we go. Nice clean document to work from.